Right, in for a bit of fun today in the shed. Starting to warm up already, so it's going to be a hot day, and that's really cool. And the cool part about it is I've got all the suspension bits I need, and I'm going to work over the front of the truck. As you saw the other day, Allan diagnosed some saggy bent springs on one side up there at the front, possibly down the back. So we're going to work it over with all this new gear. And true to his word, he sent up a whole bunch of rubber bushes too. This is what Terrain Tamer will supply as an option to the urethane bushes. Okay, well I've fixed a few 40 series suspensions on the track in recent years, but you know what? It's years since I actually did one in the workshop. And so this is kind of exciting. It's going to be rediscovering what's the best way to do it. Now from memory, knocking off the U-bolts, knocking out the back hinge points, and then just dropping the springs down on the ground with the truck, just supported enough to take the weight off the springs, should be the way to do it. Oh boy, these doggers are a great hand, aren't they? I'll tell you what though, there's nothing quite like doing it here in the shed on the concrete, as opposed to rolling around in a creek bed or something, or, you know, plucking the burrs out of your backside. This is absolute luxury for me. I'm loving it. Not bad having the power tools either, just quietly. Do you know, that air hammer, I got that at Aldi. I think it was on special, cost 20 or 30 bucks. Just an amazing tool. I've had a few of them over the years. Probably if I bought a good one, I wouldn't need a few of them, but you know, you never know. Yeah, these shackles, everything's all right, but the springs are terrible. Cool. One down, 3 to go. Gee, these look so much better than Milo's. Far out. They're riveted on for a start. I might just polish that up actually. I'll clean the other one up and then I think I'll get a wire brush and polish them up. Well, here's our old bent spring up against the new one, and straight away you can see that these are going to drop the front of the truck a little bit. That's all right, I'm quite happy with that, because look at the differences. These have got 4 retaining clips for starters. That one's only got the 2. These have got fairly severely tapered leaves. These aren't tapered as much. Quite happy with that. We've got 5 and 4 and a bit. So that's why these bent, basically. They're just not strong enough. Okay, we're still going to make up for that. Now you might not need quite that much effort to pop your bushes in, but you know, one of the things I love about mucking around with suspension, it's blacksmith's work. That means you can really lay into things without too much chance of busting anything. Okay, I'm going to clean up the old shackles because they looked all right when they came out. They're a good brand of shackle. Maybe that way I can keep my nice new squeaky ones for Milo too. You'll probably notice a bit of a smear of grease going on here. I like to lightly grease everything. It just makes it all slip together beautifully. Now, as I said, I'm reusing the old shackles. They're Terrain Tamer shackles anyway. They've probably been, well, I know they've been in mustard since I put the springs in, which is gee, quite a few years now, but there's nothing wrong with them. They haven't done that many miles. They've worn really well. I am reusing new bushes, and like every other part of this job, nothing's getting tensioned fully at this stage. Just locate it. Just get it in the right place. Get the shackles through. Get the nuts just on the edges of the threads. With all this hammer work going on, you know, it is necessary to think about what you're hitting. Don't just let loose. The last thing you want to do now is bend up some threads or, you know, bend anything for that matter. This makes it look like I'm being really rough trying to find where that little screw goes, the locating screw. But really, I can feel it. I need to get it just right. Far better off to do it that way, to get it located, than try and cross-thread something or cross-thread something by accident when you bung it in. Okay, to the front. So with the back already, it's easy to get the front on because the front's the one that moves around, of course. Got that lovely triangle shape. Now, you know, I know how these came apart, so I'm putting them back together the same way, but it's fairly logical that you want the nuts on the inside for a whole lot of reasons. Just keeps them slightly out of harm's way anyway. This is a job where you usually find out if you're using really cheap shackles or not, because if you've got good ones, they'll just slot on, just like that. If you're using cheap and nasties, they've probably got a bend in them or something. The pins do tend to bend fairly easily. Righto, so we've got brand new U-bolts, which is just critical. It's usually the first thing that goes, and even though I'll tighten them up today, they've got to be re-tightened over the next few weeks as it all beds in. But that's all right, because that's all part of the fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 MUB 1369s and one square one. The square one is for the front right-hand side. It's got a slightly different shape accent. There's something beautiful about new U-bolts. And you can bet there'll be a few spares chucked in the back of the truck too. That's the spare old ones. Okay. Up. God, how easy is that, eh? Bit more. I'll tell you what, the hoist just made it so easy. But out in the bush you can do much the same thing. You just need to use your, probably a little hydraulic car jack under the spring I've used before. I don't like using spring washers on U-bolts. It gives one more thing where there can be a bit too much play. You don't really need it, you just need to keep them tight. Gee, that felt good. That's the thing about suspension. It's always easier to put the new stuff in than it is to get the old stuff out. That's the way it should be. Now, what I've done here is everything is loosely bolted in place. When I say loosely, I haven't cinched it all down yet. You know, it's just sitting here. It's just the way I do things. Doesn't mean it's the right way. But first thing I'm going to do is cut off the U-bolts, because they're only going to get longer. They're not going to get shorter when I tighten them down. I've knocked them slightly into place on each side of the springs just to make sure they're in the right place. And then what I like to do with suspension is to work my way through and tighten it like you tighten a cylinder head. Work my way all the way around a few times, and that way I can get the tension on everything about the same. So there you go. I'm probably pretty game showing you how I do things, because I know it's probably not how it's done in the textbook. But at the end of the day, this is what's worked for me, and this is what I want to show people. People like to do this bit different too. Some people like to leave a bit of bolt on there. You know, I don't know why, to be honest. Probably so you can add extra nuts later. It does give you another surface in case you wear a surface out, lose some thread or something. But most of the time that just gets hung up on rocks and winds up that knocked around. It's not worth worrying about. So I trim them off so that the plate can slide. That's just what I do. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just what I do. The cylinder head sequence type thing, well, you know, I know they don't do that in shops, but hey, if it works for you, if it's worked long enough, you tend to keep doing it. Good on you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. And I'll tell you what, I bet I'm going to enjoy having some new suspension to play with. Righto, see you around.